Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at The Babysitter Killer Queen, released to Netflix in 2020. I covered the original Babysitter on the Kill Count last summer, and as soon as this sequel came out, I was inundated with requests for it with a fervor I haven't seen since Bird Box. Y'all really like your mediocre Netflix movies, huh? Yeah, you heard me. It's no secret I wasn't a fan of the original, and the sequel did nothing to win me over. To be entirely honest, I just don't like the tone of these movies. As with the first one, to me, Killer Queen tries too hard to be clever and cool, and comes off as pretty cringy instead. Director McG infuses the film with an in-your-face style that lacks any apparent purpose, and worst of all, every single character speaks in the exact same snarky way, making the exact same kinds of pop culture references.
We're in the middle of Camp Crystal Lake.
I hate how much I can feel everyone trying to be funny. I can also feel how the screenplay was cobbled together by McG and 3 other writers, none of whom were Brian Duffield, the sole screenwriter credited for the first film. The weird beats of the third act seem very reverse-engineered to me. Most of all, though, to me, this movie is just how an older person thinks the youths of today talk and act. Unless this really is how y'all are, in which case, fuck me, I guess. But hey, same as the first one, I know a lot of people love this movie, and it's okay if you do too, even though I did not. That's just how art be sometimes. Killer Queen takes place 2 years after the original, though it was filmed 4 years after the first film's production, which is why the main kids look so much older. After surviving a hellacious night wherein his hottie-hot babysitter B tried to use his virgin blood for a satanic ritual, Cole Johnson, now a junior in high school, is dealing with continual trauma from the incident, as well as the fact that nobody around him believes his story. In no time at all, he finds himself the subject of another deal with the devil, and things get just as stylish and bloody as before. Will Killer Queen's body count match the originals? There's only one way to find out. The movie begins 2 years after the original, in which time actor Judah Lewis has grown nicely into a Jonathan Byers look. His bloody milk there is just part of a bad dream he's having, but his days at school are no less of a nightmare for him. Nobody believes him about his traumatic night with a devil cult, and the school nurse/guidance counselor's only advice comes straight from an 80s sex comedy.
We just gotta get you laid.
That's not meant as a compliment, by the way. Although Carl McDowell is funny as Dr. Big Carl McManus, at least until his obviously improvised dialogue goes on a bit too long.
Some of them got chlamydia. It gets on your dick, it gets in your mouth, the shit gets in your eyes.
Yeah, it's so
in
gross.
your fucking eyes. This is a herpes couch right here you sitting on. There's herpes everywhere on this thing.
Sounds like McG encouraged his actors to do a ton of ad-libbing on set.
One of the most fun things about babysitter films are it's so much improv.
I think it probably adds to a lot of the questionable editing I noticed, but it also probably contributed to the loose dialogue and humor that so many viewers seem to like. We get a familiar hit of title card before the Wes Anderson-styled Cole chats with Melanie, played by Emily Allen Lynn. She was his neighbor and kinda crush from the first movie, who at one point had to hide from B with him. But she too doesn't want to validate Cole's experience, and instead tells him to just focus on the good stuff that happened that night, like how the two of them smooched. Despite all her kissing nostalgia, Mel isn't dating Cole. She's with this new Jimmy guy, and he and all his friends are acing their elective in snark.
I thought you gave me the cutest nickname.
There's nothing cute about you, Diego.
Touché, boom boom.
Get off my dick, Jimmy.
They're not the nicest to Cole, but he should be okay as long as Melanie can wink at him without closing both her eyes. Well, maybe next time. There's a new transfer student at the school named Phoebe, and how can Cole help but fall in love with her when her taste in cinema matches a box of VHS tapes you found in your uncle's garage?
My favorite movie vacillates between Deliverance or anything by Rob Reiner.
Wow, what a little rascal she is. This girl be so devoid of fucks to give, she lies to the whole class that she's pregnant and screams like a maniacal pixie dream girl. Damn, on a scale of 1 to 5, that was a scream 5. I hate this kind of quirk-infested character writing, but at least Jenna Ortega's committed enough in the performance to make it somewhat bearable, even if their teacher's not a fan.
You crazy bitch.
Not every character has to be snarky and hilarious, man. At home, Cole's parents, played by a returning Leslie Bibb and Ken Marino, think that his Babysitter's Club tale is just a product of some mental illness. With Cole insistent about his story, they decide to send him to a children's hospital, and not the kind with a Rob Corddry clown, more like a psych ward. Cole catches on to their plan thanks to an irresponsibly notated brochure, and Melanie tells him he can avoid involuntary commitment if he leaves with her at lunch to go to a party lake. She tells him not to worry about having to take medication either. Everyone in school is on some kind of psychoactive, whether it's to stay attentive or get their vitamins in. That's not too bad. Mel doesn't know what Phoebe's on, but they do watch as she discovers a stuffed rabbit in her locker, alongside a note and a key to some traumatic incident from her past. At lunchtime, Cole is forced to choose between the red pill and the blue pill, and thankfully, these hallways aren't subreddits, because he takes the red route with Mel and her dad's car keys. Her friends pile into the car with them, with Jimmy stating a wild plan that actually got a legit laugh out of me.
Get out some fun, set her dicks on fire, huh?
Concerned about Cole's whereabouts, his parents go to Melanie's house and ask her dad Juan to hit them with the most happening internet lingo he knows.
I just slid into his DMs, and we've been like trading back and forth gifs and memes, like so many LOLs.
Little more, bro?
I am Fortnite Nation, bitch.
There we go. Juan's not worried about where his daughter is, but he is super pissed that his car is gone. They contact a cop for help, but he's too blasé and referencey to do them any good.
If they're not back by tomorrow, I'll bring in ice. Ice, baby.
Juan's car is already halfway to the party lake, stopped at a gas station, clerked by Amanda Cerny, who talks like every other character in this movie.
Magnum XLs. It's the Tiffany's box of condoms.
Cole buys the monster condoms to use for his Magnum dong, and then it's off to Cool Kid Central. Everyone from their school is here, even Phoebe, who reminds the audience of how much she loves 80s movies.
And I'll be sure to tell them Large Marge sent me.
Oh, a Pee-wee reference, Cole. That's awesome. Maybe try to go talk to her. Oh, never mind, she's gone. Huh, why would she want to leave this fun and cool place? It's so fun and cool, Melanie has to tell us it's fun and cool.
Look, everyone's having so much fun, right? It's cool.
In an attempt to fit in, Cole ditches his medication and hops aboard a party yacht where everyone else is happy to bust a move. They play a party game, during which Cole and Mel smooch again in a closet, but then Diego and Jimmy start pestering Cole about his satanic cult encounter. Mel says Cole doesn't want to talk about the devil book, and Cole realizes he never mentioned that detail to her.
How do you know about the book, Mel?
Because I signed my name in it, Cole.
Whoa, what the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck again? Boom Boom here is our first kill on the count. This movie's equivalent to Sacrifice Samuel, or as Bella Thorne would put it,
Sacrifice Daniel.
Quick note, unfortunately YouTube's gotten real cranky about gore, and I didn't have a sponsor for this episode, so I can't include the most graphic shots from the movie. If I did, this video would get demonetized, which doesn't really work for me when I have editors to pay. As always, the uncut kill count is available on my Patreon for only a single $1 a month, but you know, you can also just watch the movie, or look up other people's demonetized videos on YouTube. Turns out Melanie's into the same blood cult ritual that B was, and Jimmy and Diego are in on it with her. Unlike B though, Mel seems sickly joyous of the fact that she now has to kill Cole, which is really a bummer. Samara Weaving's B was by far the best part of the original, and her relationship with Cole was a complex and interesting one. Replacing her with a mustache-twirling Melanie is a huge downgrade for this movie. Cole then finds himself face to face with the other cult members from the first movie, including the perpetually shirtless Max, the not at all graceful Allison, Sonia, who has cookies for some reason, and my least favorite of them all, John.
You look like you seen a gorgeous black ghost.
I don't think I made it clear last time why I disliked John so much. It's because he kept saying clumsy, forced lines like this.
Hands up, don't shoot, man. Black Lives Matter too. You feel me? 3 out of 4 people got an STD. I got 2 people's blood on me. You do the math, I got AIDS. I know I got AIDS.
He's just you know, a lot. He's too much. Also, I learned real fast from comments on the first kill count that it's pronounced King Batch, even though, I mean, look at that spelling. You can't get mad at me for reading it as King Bach. There was another Bach who was a bit more famous than him, okay? Phoebe shows up all of a sudden, needing gas for that jet ski she took off on like 7 hours ago. And after she excuses herself and Cole climbs up to the top deck, we kick off into the more actiony and thankfully less talky 2/3 of the movie.
Damn, it feels good to be back!
It's good to have you back, Robbie Amell. That guy is just as funny as he is chiseled.
The dude is built like a Greek god.
I also found Bella Thorne to be pretty funny in this movie, and most of the cast seemed friendly in the interviews I watched researching for this episode. So, you know, that's good. Cole slides down onto Phoebe's jet ski and they take off from the yacht, narrowly avoiding a cartoon-looking spear shot at them. They pull over and Cole catches her up on the cult stuff, which she believes without any hesitation.
What else do you expect from a collection of attention-seeking social media millennials with esteem issues?
Guys, I know I keep harping on this dialogue, but how can you hear it and not cringe?
You watched Terminator 2?
Yes. It's one of the 4 sequels in cinematic history that supersedes the original.
Christ, it's like that insufferable scene in Scream 2. Not the cafeteria scene, the other insufferable scene.
Many sequels have surpassed their original.
Oh, yeah? Name one.
T2.
You got a hard-on for Cameron.
Using a trail of gas left in the water, Melanie figures out where Cole and Phoebe are and blows up their ride. But Phoebe didn't ask to be stuck in the middle of Cole and this cult. She's at this lake with a personal agenda, so she sets off on her own. She comes across a dude practicing the Deliverance music on a banjo, and since that's one of her favorite movies, you'd think she would recognize the potential danger here. She doesn't at first though, and puts her trust into this Leroy dude, played by Scott MacArthur, who absolutely killed it in the Mick. Man, that show is funny. Leroy ends up being a predator who tries to assault Phoebe, but thankfully Cole appears and tries to defuse the situation by talking about his favorite campfire snack.
I love s'mores. I eat them just for pleasure!
If you were wondering what the fuck that was, like I was, it's a reference to the 1985 movie The Sure Thing, made by Phoebe's favorite director, Rob Reiner.
I mean a guy who would rip your heart out and eat it just for pleasure!
McG calls Killer Queen a mixtape of all his interests, but the reason it doesn't work for me is because he's making these teenage characters reference all the things he loves as a 50-year-old man. Like, these kids wouldn't know what The Sure Thing was, come on. Cole Bugs Bunny's Leroy, and they escape with the help of some tied shoelaces, calling back to an earlier humiliation Cole suffered in school. Before they can drive off in Leroy's car though, Sonia appears with a flamethrower and a callback to the rocket that killed her in the first movie.
Fat dragon.
Oh, whoa, what are we doing with this VHS quality flashback? Oh shit, Samara Weaving, finally! Wait, no, don't go! Sonia turns her flamethrower to Leroy and lights him ablaze in a one-take fire stunt where Hana-Mae Lee actually got to fire a flamethrower at the stunt performer. Awesome. Cole then floors it and runs Sonia over, not once, not twice, but 3 times. He finally slams her against a rock where a rooftop surfboard slides off and completely obliviates her head. Holy shit. Despite my issues with it, I loved the gore in the first Babysitter, and the same goes for the sequel. Also, apparently Hana-Mae Lee got to keep her own fake severed head, which is kind of a dream of mine. After getting Leroy's car stuck on a rock, Cole and Phoebe run off on foot towards a nearby cabin that Phoebe was headed to. She thanks Cole for saving her from the campfire creeper, then hints towards a mysterious backstory that, in the end, is just as interesting as all her 80s pop culture references.
Them's the breaks, pony boy. Stay gold, my ass.
Which is to say, not very. On their way to the cabin, they come across a little bunny rabbit. Aww. That was done by Allison, who we see once bombed an audition to be a journalist. Like, really shat the bed there. When she was approached by Samara Weaving. No, come back. Allison shoots at them and talks about bukkake before one of her bullets ricochets back into her boob.
My food! Fuck me again!
Of course again. This movie does everything again. Wish they would shake it up a little. She chases them until she slips into a little canyon, finding herself in a spot so tight not even Aaron Ralston could escape it. Cole and Phoebe grab her legs and pull down hard enough to kill her by decapitation, when her head straight up stretches off her body. And then, just for kicks, a boulder falls onto her headless corpse. Did someone order that thing from Acme or what? Max attacks their backs with an axe, but but Cole uses Allison's limbs to fend off the shirtless wonder, eventually putting him down with a kick in the nuts.
Finally found my dick, Cole!
The kids hop onto a boat named the Jenny, owned by a random guy who's not long for this world, since he is quickly stabbed through the back by Max. He dies, and his body falls into the water. Max's origin vignette shows us how he was a beleaguered shirtless fast food worker who was recruited by B with a single line.
You want to kill somebody?
He sure does! But he also wants to get in on that pop culture reference game. So he mentions Tommy Two-Tone, which clues in Cole and Phoebe about the punch code needed to unlock this boat. They drive away, and Max rides after them on an inner tube in a scene they had to film during nights in November, making it pretty unpleasant for Robbie Amell and his stunt double.
It was me and a stunt double. And the stunt double wasn't there for any single specific shot. It was so that the two of us could cycle back and forth when one of us was too cold to do it.
Max starts pulling his way towards them, but when he gets to the stern, he's met with a face full of silly string and a big old flame that lights his head on fire, causing him to fall off the boat. Cole starts up the engine, and it kills Max by pulling his face into the motor, splashing blood all over the kids that in real life was made of strawberries and oatmeal. Yum. Somehow, John saw Max's death, even though, like, they were driving that boat away from the dock for a while. And he's upset about Cole's increased competence.
Before he was a baby, now he's all grown up. Before I want to spank him like a baby, like bam, bam, bam. Now I gotta kill him like a man.
Jimmy and Diego agree that this ritual is getting too difficult, so they go to leave, only to spontaneously blow up one after the other. I like this more in Ready or Not, which was a good horror comedy starring Samara Weaving. Using a satellite phone, Melanie calls Cole's dad, who's been partying down with her dad, getting high and playing VR. She tells him the state of things, saying Cole is having a breakdown, and asks them to come and get him. They'll get right on it, Mel, as soon as Juan's done making his 5th or 6th joke about loving his car more than you.
Is she in one piece?
Yeah, she was a little shaken up, but she's...
Not her, the car!
Cole and Phoebe have a little boating bonding sesh where we get a few more flashes of her hashtag traumatic past. She tells him she always wanted to be Alice of Wonderland growing up, going on grand adventures. Glad she got to live out her dreams. Ain't too many adventures grander than fleeing from Daisy Dukes, Washington there. They dock at an isolated cabin on a hill, which can be opened with the key Phoebe found in her locker with that bunny. This is her family's cabin from when she was a little girl, and her best idea is for them to hide in this place's basement until morning. Sorry, it's not a basement.
It's my rabbit hole.
It's her rabbit hole. In her rabbit hole, Phoebe's got all sorts of stuff, including a cassette player with a tape of the Sugar Hill Gang in it. As Apache begins to play, Cole and Phoebe start to kiss, which leads into a fantasy sequence wherein they do the Will and Carlton dance to this song as the film's baddies whip their heads around and awkwardly dance in the background. Oh, and in case you couldn't tell by the plethora of symbolic shots, these two are doing a little bit more than dancing right now. You know, I'm glad they made this sex scene metaphorical, rather than get too awkward with the underage Jenny Ortega. During their post-coital pillow talk, Phoebe finally reveals the details to her backstory.
I killed my parents.
What? Nah, she didn't really. Not in like a Lizzie Borden way. But when she was 6, she left her stuffed bunny on a beach near this cabin. She and her babysitter drove back to get it right as her parents were on their way to the cabin with the bunny in hand. A car accident happened that sent both vehicles over the cliff and killed her mom and dad. Phoebe blames herself because it wouldn't have happened had she not wanted to go back for her rabbit. Blast, bested by the bunnies once more. After a long journey full of off-pitch singing to Alana Miles, Cole's dad and Juan finally get to the lake, where Melanie is waiting for them outside of Phoebe's cabin.
Who are you, bro?
I'm John.
Juan.
It's dope. You like the Hispanic version of me.
Exactamundo.
Mel stays behind as the 3 dudes go into Phoebe's cabin and call down for Cole to come up so they can leave. Before they leave their sex bunker though, Phoebe's gonna use a code found with that key and bunny to open her dead dad's long-locked hunting gear.
Could this night get any more erotic?
You'd think with a line like that, they just found a stash of dildos or something, but instead it's a crossbow. How is that erotic? I mean, I guess it's more erotic than some things, like John singing in his flashback vignette. Composer Bear McCreary don't like that shit one bit. Alright, hit us with the B-shot. Thank ya! John takes his sword and goes to kill Cole with it, only to cut a rope that sends an antlery chandelier down onto and through his head, which also covers Swan in blood. Damn, another good kill for the books. Well done. Melanie shows up, putting on an act in front of Cole's dad.
I love you, Cole.
But Phoebe and Cole just fling a machete at her and GTFO after she catches it. Melanie uses that machete to slice off her dad's arm, and even though he Monty Pythons it up a bit and tries to further discipline her while spewing blood, she eventually kills him with a stomach stab. Cole tells Phoebe to run away while he stays back to talk to his dad, but Papa Johnson still thinks his kid is crazy, so he sticks him with a needle full of drugs. Cole wakes up from his drug-induced nappy nap at a gas station, but he locks his dad out of the car, tells him he loves Phoebe, and takes off to go save her. Melanie catches up to Phoebe, and the two of them have a fight scene that's clearly meant to be a Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat type thing, only it's got this low frame rate that makes it really off-putting to watch. Striking vipers, this ain't. Phoebe's HP runs out first, so it's game over for her, and she winds up tied to a post in the middle of a big ritual site as Melanie spouts off this movie's upteenth Terminator reference.
Cole's a big Terminator fan. I'll be back.
With dawn fast approaching, Cole gets to the beach and finds Mel doing her Wicker Man thing. He offers up his blood as long as Phoebe is left alone, but before they can get to extracting it, Mel's gotta bring in the big B. It's Samara Weaving, finally in this movie, but with only 12 minutes left until credits roll. Ugh, and why's that shot look so weird? Phoebe also recognizes B because B was her babysitter, the babysitter who was driving the car when they got into an accident with her parents.
I was told you died the night of the accident.
Well, she's not dead, and neither are all these mofos, though their kills are still staying on the count. Don't even start with that. Melanie extracts Cole's blood and mixes his innocent life force with the blood of Boom Boom, their sacrifice. It's finally time for this cult to fulfill their Faustian bargain and get everything they've ever dreamed of.
God damn, slow down. Save some for the fishes.
Fishes don't drink blood, dude. Before B drinks from the chalice, the sun begins to rise and the other cult members start puking up blood. The head BIC realizes that Cole's blood isn't innocent anymore, having lost his virginity to Phoebe. And as the movie's titular Queen song bounces onto the soundtrack, the baddies begin to keel over.
You fucking stuck, Cole! I'm not even mad, bro!
Speaking of Queen songs, in my original kill count, I made a bad joke about a sequence being better than Bohemian Rhapsody. I meant the shitty movie, not the masterpiece of a song. Just had to clear that up. Anyway, I'm counting all 5 of these deaths as kills. The reconstituted baddies, who melt away thanks to the sexified blood, and a first-time kill for Melanie, who dies last after she screams and blows up. Boom boom. Everyone's good and happy now, and B is revealed to have been the one who put the bunny and stuff in Phoebe's locker. She also got Melanie involved in the first place by suggesting a satanic cult could earn her 1 billion social media followers. As for her own deal with the devil, this movie retcons things and says that B originally made a deal with a demon nurse in order to ensure that Phoebe survived the car accident. Even though in the first movie, she told Cole it was so she could be cool.
I used to be so small and so scared. And now I'm strong and I'm confident. And that's all I ever wanted.
Whatever, group hug. B reveals that she doesn't actually get a happy ending though. The only way for all of this to end is if she dies too. So she drinks Cole's tainted blood, says her goodbyes, and gives him one last ET-inspired high one before backing away from them and dying in a whirlwind of smoke. Her skin dissolves, she drops her book, and just like that, B's nothing more than some pollen. Cole's dad gets to the beach in time to see it happen, so now he can finally believe his son. After a swoop and a kiss, we get a couple of scenes of denouement. First, we see that Cole's one of the ballers now, all his problems having been solved by sex. And finally, we see another shot of the devil's book blowing open on the beach, all but ensuring a 3rd installment to this franchise. How many people can you tell your mom are among the babysitters dead? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Ha ha ha! Silly stranger! There were 18 deaths in The Babysitter Killer Queen, with 10 of them male and 8 of them female. though it's worth noting that 4 of those kills were second deaths for people. It happens. With a runtime of 101 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 5.61 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to John's first death. I didn't purposefully give this award to the same character who got it in the first movie, but what was I supposed to do? That shit was gnarly. Dull Machete for lamest kill will go to Diego and Jimmy, who blew up without too much logic behind it. It wasn't morning yet. Why'd that happen? And that's it. The Babysitter Killer Queen was released to Netflix in 2020, and I believe director McG has already said he'd like to do another one. I'm happy for everyone who likes these movies. Until next time, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching this extra Kill Count. I want to thank some patrons like The Woods Is My Home, Max A. Pacheco, Kaylee Ello, Sarah Burt, Karma8125, Brett Powell, and Sebastian Durham. I got this video done as fast as I possibly could, y'all, but kill counts take a while to make. Also, I'm in the middle of a move to a house that we just bought. But I got it done. I got it made for ya. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, everyone. Be good people.